Angry Joe, and I'm here with Scott Mitchell, the animation director for Rainbow Six Siege, and we just got done playing the game in a sort of preview event where we went through some of the modes and some modes that we haven't seen in the beta, as well as some maps that we haven't seen in the beta. So right away, I want to say I really enjoy this type of gameplay. You know, you got your fast first-person shooters where it's just run around with your head cut off and just be individual Rambos. And then you've got this game where it's more tactical. And this is my kind of thing because I'm huge into strategy, a little bit in my first-person shooters. And I'm glad to see that that's back with Rainbow Six Siege. So I guess I'll give you a little bit of time to talk about some of these new things that we saw today. There was it being such a different experience maybe from what people have played recently. They had something in the game, like a bit of a tutorial. You called them situations. Can you explain a little bit about that?
That's correct. They're called situations. As you're aware, anybody that's played the closed alpha and closed beta, when they started playing, they're pretty much just thrown right into the fire, no pun intended, which is quite difficult because when you're used to playing other shooters, which we're not the same, you were mentioning tactics and team play is super important. We figured when we needed to introduce something to ease players into the PvE and PvP experience. So therefore, we've come along with situations which teach you. It's essentially a tutorial or an interesting way to pull you into the experience, teach you the mechanics, how different operators work, not quite as hardcore as typical online play.
So it's like tutorials about how many situations will we get so that players learn some of the unique mechanics in this game.
You're going to end up with situations that cover most of the different mechanics. You're going to...
I think I saw 6 in the build.
We have 6 here today, yeah.
6 here today?
Yeah.
Is there going to be more in the final game?
There may end up being more for the final game, yeah.
Okay.
Right now, this is kind of like our test bed kind of thing to see kind of how it goes, but it's definitely going to stick. The feedback that we've had from it so far has been pretty excellent.
And I think that does help ease players into the different style of gameplay this game has. We also played some Terrorist Hunt. Now, we got to play that in the beta. That was the mode I enjoyed the most, mainly because the servers were down all the time. I couldn't play multiplayer. But we got to play that here. And we were wondering whether there was going to be bigger maps. And thankfully, there are bigger maps than we saw in the beta. The small house, there's bigger maps. About how many maps come in the game, and are there some larger maps than what we've seen?
So when the full game gets released, there will be 11 maps. All of them in day and night. Some, as you mentioned, are larger. Some are smaller. Some are super, super tight, like the plane. Some are a lot more open, like in the canal. But again, all the objectives are exclusively indoors, which is what sets us apart. So there's one common thread between all of them, but then the size really does differ.
I was a little disappointed that we could only go, I think it's, how many guys can you throw in as AI? Because there's always somebody out there that's like really good at first-person shooters. And, for us kind of old school Rainbow Six guys, we're used to throwing in like 60, 80 guys in the map in these huge maps. Are we going to be able to put in more than, say, 30 AI?
The AI this time around is incredibly intelligent, so a lot of computational power goes into that. Mm-hmm. Having said that, there's also the destruction. There's also the 60 frames a second. Mm-hmm. So putting all that together, a lot of factors come into play here. So that's why they have that specific number.
Dang, hopefully we'll see some more in there, because you guys have what is essentially, I think you're selling the game for $60, and then there's a gold edition, which is $90, and then there's a collector's edition, which is $150. And all of this is without the traditional single-player campaign that all of us Rainbow Six guys have been used to for nearly a decade. I mean, how do you guys feel, and why are you selling it at those prices, at the same prices or higher, without the single-player campaign? Was that not integral to the experience this time around?
Well, the situations actually give the single-player campaign feeling. They have a beginning, they have an end. You will have some cinematics, again, with Angela Bassett, who's been working with us. But
so
on top,
there's cinematics in the game.
But
it's not like a single-player storyline like we've seen in the past Rainbow Six.
Correct, but they do feel like a sort of each one is their own separate little story that happens, where you go in knowing that there's context and you have a mission. Beyond that, in terms of the pricing, all I can say is that things like maps, packs that will come out. We're not looking to split the community.
Right.
So I can't talk too much about that, but I can mention right now that the maps are going to be free. So, not many other games are going to be giving you that kind of content
That's
for
awesome.
free.
And you deserve praise there. They are offering all future maps as free DLC. But it made me a little confused, because then what exactly is the season pass? If traditionally season passes are more maps. So what's going to be in this season pass that's going to justify that $90 cost?
It's coming.
Is it going to be new modes, new operators? What are we getting?
It's coming. It's coming. I can't tell you any more about that today, but it's coming very, very soon.
And so but you guys already know what it is. You just can't say it.
Well, the team's really working on it to figure out what the best solution is, for sure.
Okay, and so customization has always been a huge part of Rainbow Six. I used to remember playing on Vegas, and I would take a picture of my face and I would put it on my guy, and there would be third-person mode so you could see your face on the guy, and you can customize all different kinds of guns. But it seems like this one, you're going more for a sort of a MOBA strategy, where you have individual personalities who have very specific abilities and weapon sets that are restricted to just that particular person. Why did you guys make that huge fundamental change? I mean, this is the first we've seen that in the Rainbow Six franchise.
That's a good question, actually, that we've had quite a lot, and it's been a hot topic on forums. Why can't I change this and that? The reason being is because when you have to balance 20 different operators with a unique gadget, it's near impossible to make sure everybody, there's nobody that's too OP, nobody that's an exploit, and each attacker has a defender basically that can counter whatever their device is. So trying to balance all of that in a limited amount of time is it's a daunting task.
It's like normally I've been able to pick what I want, that gun. Oh, it's my favorite gun. I customize it, I put all this stuff on it, and I go out as a. Instead, now I have to pick a very specific operator who then I can't play on defense. I can only play on offense and stuff like that. So this new strategy, it almost seems as if it's sort of being built to where in the future you might sell operators. Is that going to be a future thing that's going to come to the game, selling new operators with new weapons, with new abilities?
Again, that kind of information will be coming really soon. For now, I can only talk to you about the maps that are coming up.
Okay, let's talk about the maps.
Okay, but
I will say, you being the animation director, the animations in the game are fantastic.
Thank you.
They really look nice. And I love all the destructible terrain, because that adds a whole new element to the combat. Now, there's been some of that in the previous Rainbow Sixes, but not at this particular level. Can you talk a little bit about what you can do in the game as far as destructible terrain?
So the destruction is procedural, and what does that mean? It means that things aren't going to blow up the same way twice, essentially. So the map that you start with isn't the same map at the end of the game as you've experienced, and depending on who plays with which operator, it's forever changing. So the holes aren't always necessarily being opened up in the same spots. You can take down barricades completely. You can knock out a single panel out of a barricade. You can fire a bunch of bullets into a destructible wall and make a hole so you can see through to another room. And
we got surprised at one point. They dropped right down on us. I didn't expect that. There was an explosion, and we were looking around in the room. Which direction were they coming from? They came from down above, so that was pretty
That's
cool.
Actually one of the best tactics I've seen. I remember watching a play session where the defenders had themselves holed up in the plane in one room, and they had barricaded themselves inside, and the attackers had gone and put charges on the floor up above them, and all came down at once. Like they all went kind of in back to back and dropped in and just shot everybody. It was over in like seconds. Unbelievable.
Okay, in previous Rainbow Sixes, there's been this awesome renown system where you would unlock, 100 different camos. Well, I think it was a lot lower than that, and then expansions, opened it up with this renown system where you would, customize your character. Is there still going to be a renown system with customization for your individual operators?
So the in-game currency is called renowned. We also have rainbow credits that you can put towards unlocking things.
What are rainbow credits?
Are we talking about rainbow credits? No, not yet. Okay, so the renowned is really what we're kind of supposed to showcase today, but I don't think we actually kind of went into it because it's on land, so we weren't really going into it too much. But it's essentially an in-game currency that is how you level up through the game, and it gives you access to operators, it gives you access to weapon skins, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay, and so are you going to be able to purchase, those prestige points with real money?
No. No,
so you'll never
but we'll be going into this kind of stuff as soon as we start to announce the rest of the DLC plan and all that kind of stuff. We'll be going into that very, very soon.
Okay, one question I had to ask. We were having a lot of fun. They had a few matches and they put two of the best teams against each other. And one pattern I was noticing, and we also noticed it during the beta, is the shields. They are extremely overpowered. I'm telling you, even that one guy that can put a heavy machine gun, he can go boop, 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 and do nothing to the shield and everybody. And it's the shields, I feel, and I'm seeing every single match I play, 3 shields on the attacker. And what that's doing is it's only limiting your choices of operator, these cool operators, to 2 for the attackers. And so I think the shields need to be balanced. Are you guys aware of how these shields are interacting? Do you have the data at the headquarters?
We are very, very, very aware.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't
So
think
do you
it's
think
possibly.
they'll probably get a rebalance?
I do think they will be rebalanced. Actually, I know they will be rebalanced.
Okay, good. 'Cause it seems like you can even make the shield shake or degrade over time and eventually break.
We've done a lot. I mean, number one, filling the front of the shield, the glass, filling it with bullet marks that don't go away. That's number one. We've slowed down the speed. We've given them only a pistol. We've made the shield move to the side when you want to reload, which opens you up. I mean, we've done a whole lot already. So it's like people are still saying it's overpowered. It's yes, we're very aware.
That shield has been a real challenge.
Tough.
But don't remove it. Because I think it's so cool, like having a shield in there. Not a whole lot of games that have that, except for previous Rainbow Sixes. So gotta keep it in there. Just gotta find that.
And I gotta say that for somebody who's just breaking into Rainbow Six Siege, playing as a point man is excellent, especially if you come from playing other shooters, because we're super tactical, so you have to learn to slow down, check your corners, take your time, communicate. And because the point man moves so much slower than the other operators, it kind of enforces that a little bit, and it gives you a little bit of extra, well, and a lot of extra protection that we're working on. But it's nice for when people are just breaking into play as a point man.
And because the operators are so specific and have different loadouts and abilities, they feel and play differently, especially with their move speed and how much damage they can take. Is there? Do you guys have a team, or are you reviewing data that just focuses on balance? And how much are you guys going to be paying attention to balance over the course of the game's life? Like we might see, because right now there are some operators that may be underpowered and some that may be overpowered. Is this something that is going to be an ongoing process, or when it comes out, boom, that's what you're going to get?
So the long-term plan for us is to keep the game live, as we call it, and there is a team dedicated to just that.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that means that balancing, that means that patches and bug fixing, that will be constant from for the long term, which is pretty fantastic.
Yeah, that's good to hear. Yeah. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us and answering some of these tough questions. I got a lot of them from the Rainbow Six community that wanted to know, because this is a little bit of a change. Even though I'm having fun with the gameplay, I'm just a little worried about some of the stuff that surrounds it. So thank you for taking the time to actually, speak with us today. And if you could tell us when the game comes out and what systems it's going to be for.
So the game comes out December 1st. It's going to be available for PC, Xbox One, and PS4.
Okay. Thank you very much. And we'll see you guys on the next Angry Joe Show.